Hey guys, it's Sean. Hopefully somebody watches this and can comment on it because I don't really know what to do, and I'm asking the internets for some help. So I've been playing Boros for a little while. I'm excited to see that a lot of the pros are turning towards it as well, but with that their lists start to become different and I don't know which way to turn, so I thought I'd give a quick deck tech and then ask about certain card choices. So I suppose we'll start with the mana base, because most people seem to have good consensus on that. I'm running the full 12 fetches, obviously, and then an even split of 5 plains and 5 mountains. I think that that's probably fine. It's pretty easy to get. You really just want, either a first turn mountain or a first turn plains, and the odds of being able to achieve that are pretty good, so generally that's not a problem. A lot of people seem to question whether or not to do Teetering Peaks or Terramorphic Expanse. Right now I'm doing one Terramorphic Expanse for extra landfall, and then the Teetering Peaks, I've liked them so far, and they're an easy way to activate Spikeshot Elder, but I can see reasons for taking them out. I know Gerry Thompson doesn't like them because he's not running Core Skyfisher, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's the mana base. I think it's 25 lands, if I'm not mistaken, which seems about right. You don't really want to get flooded, but you do want to be able to at least hit your fetches pretty often. So and then we'll go with some of the obvious stuff. I think 3 Stoneforge Mystic is probably where you want to be. You don't want to draw too many of them because odds of drawing your equipment is pretty good, but they are really helpful, and they're really sort of the engine of the deck. 4 Lightning Bolts, creature removal, extra reach, those are important as well. My equipment package is 3 adventuring gear, and then I'm taking a page out of Jerry T's book and doing 1 Sword of Body and Mind and 1 Basilisk Collar. There isn't a whole lot of green-blue at the shop where I play in Minneapolis, but I think it's a pretty powerful card, and I don't think that there's a high opportunity cost to just running it regardless. I can always side it out if I'm playing against somebody who isn't really sensitive to it. I got 3 Spikeshot Elder. Those are Goblin Bushwhackers, but they will be Spikeshot Elders tonight. Although, as an aside, I don't hate Goblin Bushwhacker even without Ranger Vios. It is pretty explosive, but it only really works if it's very consistent. You can't get that consistency without Ranger Vios. I like Spikeshot Elder, but it is really mana intensive, and that's why I'm hesitant to put all of my chips into that corner, and I also do run 3 Cunning Spark Mages main. There's a lot of poison. People have been playing a lot of poison lately, and most of those players aren't very good, so it's not hard to beat them, but Cunning Spark Mage plus Basilisk Collar just completely and utterly destroys any other creature deck, and if you can protect it, it's really good against the bug and the rug ramp decks. So 4 Geopedes, 4 Goblin Guides. I don't really want to mess with those numbers too much. Goblin Guide is got a bit of a drawback because people are really trying to hit their land drops in the current format, but I mean, he's so explosive, and I have Chinese ones, so I might as well play them. I'm running 4 Plated Geopede. I know Gerry Thompson likes running 3 Plated Geopedes to make room for the Squadron Hawks, but so far no complaints about running 4, although I could be convinced to go down to 3 if I had to. I've also got the 4 Step Links. Obviously, I don't really think that needs any explanation, and then 2 Journey to Nowhere because it really is just such a great piece of removal, and there are so many creatures like Wormcoil Engine that this deck has so much trouble with that if you can get rid of the Wormcoil Engine, you can really push through for some extra damage. So the big questions I have with my main deck are, I do run 3 Core Skyfisher, as the deck's used to. I know Brad Nelson's list normally runs Core Skyfishers. I've taken 1 out to add the Sword of Body and Mind recently, and I like Core Skyfisher. I play a little bit of that White Weenie Quest deck as well, and he's really such an important part of that deck that I think the Core Skyfisher is really quite powerful. Although I'm not opposed to the idea of running Squadron Hawks. I might test that out tonight. So if anybody has had specific experience with the comparison between Core Skyfisher and Squadron Hawks, I'd really like to hear about it, because it's an issue that I don't quite know how to resolve myself without just further playtesting. Let's see. Onto the sideboard, I've got the 3 Mark of Mutinies. That seems to be the industry standard at this point if you're playing red. The ability to steal especially something like an Inferno Titan that people are starting to play more of. And I mean, if I can equip it with a Basilisk Collar, if I have that kind of mana, I mean, it's just absolutely game over. So the ability to have Mark Immunity access is really important. 3 Goblin Rune Blasters. It's a little bit slow for the deck, but you do have 25 lands, so being able to hit that and being able to get the double red isn't very difficult. For that reason, I think that it's really important to run these right now. There are so many decks relying on non-basics, you know, being able to hit a Creeping Tar Pit or a Celestial Colonnade is also just vital to a deck like this that doesn't really have as much reach. 3 Revoke Existences. A lot of people like to play things like Wormcoil Engine and Mimic Vat in my metagame, and these are really easy ways to deal with that. If anybody else is playing things like Pyromancer Ascension or their own Journey to Nowhere, I mean, it's a really good way to just sort of take care of all that stuff. I wish it was instant speed, but it's cheap and it's just that effective. 4-core Firewalker, obviously there's a lot of red-blue control, and that this card's really good against them, and it's still pretty aggressive. So, and then the last 2 cards in the sideboard are 1 Arc Trail and 1 Cunning Spark Mage to complete the Cunning Spark Mage playset. I'm not quite sure. These slots are sort of always tentative. I basically have a 13-card sideboard that I know I'm happy with and that I want to stick with, and then I have these 2 extra cards. Sometimes they're an extra Basilisk Collar, sometimes they're War Priest Thune, sometimes there's a Flame Slash in there, but Arc Trail's really good, and being able to take care of things like Oracle Moldiah plus Ping a Jace, or Ping a Jace, get a Lotus Cobra, I mean, that kind of stuff. It just seems good, and so I think I'm going to try running the Arc Trail. I don't see anything really wrong with it. And then the Cunning Spark Mage, obviously, just to complete the set. Since you're running 6 pingers, basically, you've got the Spike Shots and the 3 Cunning Spark Mages. I don't know if you need this, and it could be, you know, any other number of spells, but that's what it is right now. This is probably what I'm going to use tonight, just so I can try it out. So I think that's pretty much everything. The deck is pretty well known at this point, and I'm kind of happy that it's being validated because I do think that it's quite powerful. I've been having trouble making sure that the draws are explosive enough. I'm probably not mulliganing correctly. I think that I'm too willing to keep hands where there isn't a lot of action. Like, you know, I think being able to mulligan into one of the 1-drops is really important, and I really haven't been as on top of that as I should be, especially being able to ensure that you can get like a Step Links into a Goblin Guide or a Goblin Guide into you know, something like an Adventuring Gear and maybe another 1-drop the next turn. I mean, really being able to set yourself up well, I think is important. So anyway, if anybody watches this and they feel like commenting, my big questions are, what should these 3 lands be, and is Squadron Hawks worth it? And anyway, that's me signing off, and I hope you guys try this deck out, or at least know what to do against it, because it is going to become a force soon. There are a lot of people writing about it, and there's a lot of talk about it now, and I think that being able to know what to do against it is important. So this is me signing off, and have fun playing.